Welcome back, friends. We saw in the last video that we could write a function to swap or jumble up the even and odd place letters in a given string, and that we could use to create a simple secret message. Now, in this video, we are going to see why and how we can enhance this function to become much more robust. And in fact, we are going to do that with what is called the modulo operator, which is a mathematical operator, but extremely powerful, yet very, very simple to understand if we know basic division. So first, let's see why is it that we need to enhance, what is going on, and then we'll see how we will enhance it, right? So for that purpose, let me just go back to my program. Remember here, I had this, this function where I'm doing x is Python is equal to cool. Now, if I were to say print x even odd, now what's going to happen is that I'm going to get a string which is basically a jumbled up version of the original string x, and jumbling up has happened through this function because I've remembered x even odd is even odd swap x, and x was an input, right? So this function has done the magic for me, and I get this output which is kind of very hard to read unless I know what's going on. Let's see for a moment, however, if my string was, let's say, Python was cool. Now, with just this little change, I'm going to get into some trouble because the moment I run this, notice I get an error saying that string index is out of range. And this particular error happens on line number 9 inside the function, which happens to be this particular line, right? So clearly something is going wrong. We are going to fix this. We are going to, and that's what I meant by enhancement. But let's first understand what is it that's going wrong, and then we'll come back and see how we can fix this. So I come back here. I go go in here. Let's say, let's see. Let's first try and understand what exactly is going on. Remember, the way we did this was a two-step process. We first split the original string into two parts, even letters and odd letters. Now let's say my string has only 13 letters, which means I've used let the x is 13, or in fact any odd number. And I've done that, for example, as I showed you, by removing the last L. The moment this happens, now when I split this into even and odd strings, my even letter and odd letters, these two strings end up having different number of characters, right? So for example, even will still have 7 characters, but odd, I have got only 6 characters. Now remember, the next step here is that I'm running a for loop where I'm picking up, with the use of the index in the for loop, use of variable in the for loop, I'm picking up this item, this item, this item, this item, this item, this item, and so on and so forth. So you can imagine now that as I becomes, for example, in this case equal to 6, I try to access this element, but since I'm accessing something that is beyond the bounds, it's not part of the string, I get an error. And that's exactly the error that we saw. Now you might wonder, how do we fix it? In fact, the fix is also quite straightforward, quite logical. What we can do is that whenever we see that the string that we are trying to, send to this process has a length which is odd numbered, we can modify that string by adding a dummy character to it. And the dummy character could be, for example, just a space character. So really all I have to do is to figure out if my string has an odd number of characters and then add a dummy character. And once my string has been given this dummy character, again the length is 14. This modified x is 14, so I can go on and do my steps as earlier. I'll get both these strings of equal length, and my step 2 will keep working completely fine. So the challenge really is to figure out if the length of the incoming string is an odd number, and if so, then I have to extend it. And the way I do it is using this modulo operator. Modulo operator is actually very, very interesting, and in fact, it's used in a lot of scenarios. Let's first understand what modulo means. So modulo operator is defined only for numbers, and it's, in simple words, it returns the remainder. So for example, if I say 7 modulo 2, I'm going to get 1, and that's because if I were to divide 7 by 2, I'm going to get a quotient of 3 and the remainder will be 1, right? So because 7 is 3 times 2 plus 1, 1 is the remainder, right? So I get 1 here. 12 modulo 3 is 0 because 12 is 3 times 4 plus 0. Remember, if I divided 12 by 3, I'm going to get 0 as the remainder. 18 modulo 4 is 2 because if I did 18 divided by 4, I'm going to get quotient is 4. 18 is 4 times 4 plus 2, but 2 will be the remainder and hence I get 2. In fact, the same exact modulo operator is present in Scratch too, and we have used this to build an enhancement of the text of math project. You can, if you're interested, you can take a look at this project. The working is exactly the same. I could go and say 18 mod 4. That's same as saying in Python 18 percentage 4 because these two are both numbers and hence I'm going to get the remainder. Now think about it. How can I make use of this? If my string length is even, it means that my length of that string modulo 2 must be 0 because every even number is divisible by 2. On the other hand, if my length of string is odd, then the string modulo 2 won't be 0. Now you can imagine that you can in fact extend this logic. Right now I'm just doing for modulo 2, but you can do it for modulo any number to figure out if the string length is a multiple of a given number. So I'm going to use that logic now. I'm just going to put enhancement to my code. And what I'm going to do is that over here, before I start anything, I'll figure out if I want to extend this string or not, right? And the way I do that is I say if length of say x percentage 2 is not equal to, now notice the not equal to here, not equal to 0, because I'm really just figuring out if I'm getting a remainder when I divide by 2, and if I do get a remainder, then I need to enhance this string. And the way I'll enhance the string is by just saying x is equal to x plus an extra space. And so with this modification, when I run my code, I'm not going to run into any problem because, and I can just say, actually I can just say x even odd, and this would have worked perfectly fine. Notice it looks a little bit different now because that L is missing, but I did not get any problem in the code itself, right? That L has been replaced by a space. And that is the enhancement that I want to talk to you about. I hope it's clear. We'll be happy to hear your feedback if you have any. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.